everybody. We're back again in the studio for the Radiance conversation, for the Radiance chapter. And today, I'm extremely excited to bring our guest onto our conversation because today we're going to talk about something which is very, very important to me personally, as well as I believe that everybody needs to pay very good attention to. And that's our health and wellness with a nutrition perspective, as well as a very holistic idea of what actually health and wellness means and what we can do about it. Therefore, I would like to introduce our guest to you today. And our guest today is Dr. Nandita Sethi Narula. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'd like to say a few words to introduce you, Nandita. Dr. Nandita here is a certified nutritionist and a holistic practitioner who works locally from the downtown core in Ottawa. She actually has a medical degree from India, but here in Ottawa, or since she's been in Canada, she's been working as a homeopath and as a wellness consultant and has had a long journey of working with multiple basically institutions, I can say, but she's been working or had been working 8 years with Shoppers Drug Mart and about 9 years with Market Organics. And she's still going strong. She's got a very good position right now with a pharmacy downtown in Ottawa, and she has multiple clients. I call her celebrity doctor.
Oh, that's amazing, but thank you.
I mean, at one point of time, you did
humble.
have the Prime Minister and the Mrs. Prime Minister as your clients.
Mrs. Prime Minister.
Mrs. Prime Minister as your clients. You've had appearances on TV with many ideas that you have brought about nutrition and health. I've seen those. You have accolades from industry professionals and industry superiors to recognize your work as a holistic practitioner.
Thank you.
As well, I know that you come from Bombay, so Bollywood, which is the hub of celebrity galore. It's our version of Hollywood, and that you had taken care of a lot of the celebrities there as well when you were in India.
That's absolutely true. That was my yesterday. So moving forward from there, having come to Ottawa, not many knew who I was, what I did. I left behind a huge world of recognition to come here, find my roots, and climb again. So I'm grateful to Ottawa and the industry that has allowed me to exhibit my expertise. I came with talent, and I was able to enhance the talent with the knowledge I gained over the years. I would say 18 years now.
Wow.
From the industry of health. What is great is that I knew what I knew, and now I know a little more.
Isn't that wonderful?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful because I'm so grateful that even though I'm not a doctor here, I'm still able to reach out to many more. Because if I was attached to the word doctor, that would limit my expertise to be only contained to what their requirement is. And the medical system here is so different. Sometimes not having a title is a better way to go. And that's what I learned in Canada. And I'm grateful to Ottawa and those institutions that allow me to be who I am and to help many more.
And that's the beauty of being in a place and having a talent and a skill. I think you're a natural healer. I think that's what it is. I'm off camera. You did tell me your mother believed that about you. And I think that would be the reason why you would be able to continue and make that difference, even though far away from the land you've known and the people you've ever understood and that have recognized you. Here you are today, and here we are today. Well, I'm glad you came from India and whatever background and here today, and we can have this tete-a-tete. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Radha.
I am
radiant, Radha, I must say. You were one of the many, I would say, one of this part of my world that has allowed me to exhibit. What I gained was out of what I knew and my talent. But to be able to reach out to many more, only a Radha could do it.
Oh my goodness.
Because nobody else ever said to me, come in and share what you know. It's not necessary you want to learn, you don't want to hear someone, what someone has to say, but if that would benefit more than just you, isn't that worth your while? So thank you, and you deserve all that. I am so grateful, and I'm absolutely going to say once again, thank you, Radha.
Oh my goodness. Thank you for saying any of this. I believe that we do not have the conversations that we need to have. I believe that we, especially as women, I think that we are always so wrapped up and so taken up with things that
Competitive.
yeah, well, life presents us opportunities to show ourselves ahead, show ourselves successful, and then, but it doesn't provide us the opportunity. You know, they used to say, stop and smell the roses. You know, take that moment. I have a pelvic health expert that I talk to, and she calls them mindful moments.
Oh, for sure. As we say, mindful eating, as we say, you are what you eat, we also say you're only in control of two things in life. One is your thoughts and how you manifest them, and two is your food that you put into your system and how you process them. There is no third thing you are in control of. So mind your own business is a nice way to say. Mind what you would do, and mindfully you will be able to create a better world for you, and being the captain of your home or the ship, you'd be able to help the family, and to extend it further, like Radha you're doing, to be extending it to the community you love, your friends, because when you love somebody, you want to exhibit it.
Yes.
You don't want to brag about it. It's not like you're kind of talking more than you need to. You're just sharing, I learned this. Do you want to know about it? It's like sharing a secret. But the secret has no gossip involved. It has the benefits of health.
Absolutely.
And radiance. So let's put it that way. In reality, exactly what it is.
That I didn't think about it that way. That's amazing.
We all learn from each other, don't we?
It's beautiful. Thank you. I will like to start with something. I want to ask you, what has been the reason that has brought you to and kept you
in this
world of holistic health, the homeopathy that you do, the nutritional advices and the nutritional practices that your clients get from you, that they get put on a path of health and wellness. And I want to know, why did you get into that?
Thank you for giving me this opportunity again, because my story goes back to my kid brother, who's now in heaven, was playing hockey. During a hockey match, he got hit in his eye, and he was rushed to a military hospital. And at the hospital, the doctor was trying to stop bleeding, but by default and mistake, he cut the vision nerve. So my brother was blind one eye for his entire life, and that was an accident. Now that's what was a rude awakening. I was all of grade 5. My brother was a year and a half younger than me, and that became my dream, my motivation, my drive to say, one day I want to be a healer that would do things for people that wouldn't hurt people, harm people, or do anything for which my brother could never see again from his with his left eye. So that made me be who I am today. Reach out, help, painless, and homeopathy was the best science I reached out to. It doesn't mean we don't learn. The foundation of medicine is the same. We learn the same anatomy, the same physiology. The only difference is the pharmacopoeia. We vary on that aspect. And then we do an extra subject, which is called the organon of philosophy, which is where a bit of the element of why the philosophy of the science taught us that there is something more than just the body. So the holistic wellness aspect comes from mind, body, soul. Before things manifest in the mind, the aura picks it up, and the mind shows it, emotional upheaval, the emotional drama that we all experience, emotional health we talk about, and then the emotional quotient we talk about, and then the body, which is finally the dis-ease or disharmony, which the mind sets the body to. So all to say, homeopathy made sense to me. And again, somewhere my mom, as you mentioned earlier, believed I had a talent which was different. And she said to me, don't ever take advantage of this talent. Make sure that you always are honest. So it's my passion, my drive, my kid brother's injury, all put together that brought me where I am today. And I will not stop this journey. So the last day I can, I'll keep helping. Because you know what? God gave me an opportunity one way or the other. Even in Canada, like I've been here all of 20 years, I still found a way in 20 years. So if I can find my way, I can find a way to keep doing what I do. Recognition, we all are kids somewhere. The childlike in us always wants us to be known, but it's okay. As long as I believe in what I do, I'll keep doing this. And the more I help, the more I feel good about it. And one smile that I put on someone's face makes me feel $1 million in my bank. I made it. That's all.
That's so beautiful. Wow. Unfortunate circumstances bringing you into a space
Of healing.
that's uncomfortable for a lot of people. And
I had to grow up.
Yeah, well, kudos. I don't think I think it takes a different person to get through the stuff that you're saying.
Putting my tears behind and being this, that I'm here to help and heal. I can carry my problems to back home. Here I am here to share your problems, to know people's issues, and just to be helping.
Nandita, I want to talk a lot about nutrition, and I want to talk about a lot of, like, especially I think I want to bring in supplementation and nutritive values of things and connecting that mind, body, soul connection through the food that we eat, because you did mention how our brain is out there to sabotage us, and it's you know, that's, it's got one purpose, it's got the flight and fight, and that's what it really does do, and everything else is just gravy, is what we're living through.
Absolutely.
You have clearly a passion to heal people. I feel that you have touched many lives. You have talked about recognition, and I personally believe recognition comes from the people that know that you were the reason why they're living a better life. I don't think there's any better recognition than that. I don't think there's any better. Honestly, you can make a lot of money and you can be as popular as you want to be and you can do a lot of different things. But, you know, when you walk into a room and like even one person out of all of these people turn around and be like, wait, you know, you did this and look at me now. And I'm like, wow.
Thank you, Radha. You're right. There are some people, and this is not just being, it's out of just so being humble and sharing this.
Of course.
They call me their angel healer.
There you go.
I could take their names, but it wouldn't matter because it's just another person. But as I said, that's the purpose
Well,
of
unless
life.
they're Bollywood celebrities, you want to name me one? I'll take one.
Sure, there are a lot of them that I help. But
I don't want
it
to
wouldn't
put
be
you in
fair.
the spot.
It wouldn't be fair to talk about history because history is from where we learn, and today is from where we grow.
Absolutely.
So I had what I had.
Yes, but
I
you
lived
have
it,
what you have.
and today I have better. I have more.
That's amazing. Thank you for saying that I was better than some.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you're the celebrity. I'm sharing the platform with a celebrity, and that's what matters.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot. All right, let's dive into this. So tell me, what's the most important part of, or most important aspect of what you do?
So when somebody comes to me saying, I'm looking for help,
Yes.
and I'd ask where and how, and what is the most important thing you want to address now, today. A lot of times I find there are certain elements called nutrition and diet that need to be addressed. Then I look at and people talk about supplement as a controversial conversation or contrary kind of a dialogue. I say it's complementary.
Yes.
It's integrated. And why in this country do you need supplements? And not only this country, why do we sometimes feel the need to advise that you need supplements? We're not living in a tropical country.
No.
We live in a cold country. 6 months of the year you don't grow your fruits and vegetables or the basics, and we bring it in from different parts of the world. So what gives us this conviction that that's nutritionally as dense or good for us, and we won't be depleted because it's not grown naturally? It's either pre-ripened and picked and put in containers and then come to you, or it's come from different sources.
Interesting.
So cold storage or it's like you ripen it like in these cold storages.
Yes.
Hence, you are depleted, right? And that's why I say there are certain minerals and vitamins that are very essential for people that live in different parts of the world. Again, what is around you, it makes you. We're no longer in a tropical world, so we no longer can say we benefit with the sun, for which we don't even have that for 6 months of the year. So we need something to complement that, right? And to address that.
So just to stop you for 10 seconds in here, my question is that they always, historically, by statistic-wise, it's said that the South Asian community is almost always depleted in vitamin D.
100%.
But we live in the most sunny, come on, it's probably plus 30 right now in India.
Yes, but we do not, so the ability to absorb this, the vitamin D doesn't happen as much, so we need to supplement it. Right?
So
we don't
is that
have
a
the
South
ability.
Asian?
It's a very Mediterranean, South Asian,
So we have a
African.
lot of sun, but our body cannot absorb the vitamin D from it?
Absolutely. And so we need to either supplement it or to have fortified foods that have some vitamin D. But over time, we've realized that we are highly, and vitamin D is like a hormone.
Yes.
It's a hormone. There isn't a part of your body that doesn't benefit with that.
Yes.
And to me, the South Asian world, I say it's the foundation, the core of your immune system. And that dictates everything. So and if you were to check this out, you can always go to your family doctor and insist on having a vitamin D checkup.
Yes.
You'll be surprised, because I know it's not in the OHIP coverage, so you have to pay an extra buck for it. It's the extra buck that you paid was worth your while, because you'll find out that if you don't have the basic, most important vitamin that your body type or your background needs, then there's a problem. That's why you have immune issues, or you have emotional issues. Like, a lot of mental health or SAD comes from, absence of sun plus depletion of vitamin D. And a lot of times people don't relate to it, but go look for a Band-Aid therapy. Look at the deep depth of it. Go check it out. Convince yourself before you come and ask me. You'll know for a fact that you need some vitamin D.
Okay, I love that you said the depletion of vitamin D and the mental health aspect of it.
It is.
Like the feelings of depression. You know how we call it...
SAD?
Yeah.
It's this time of the year. So 8 out of 10 people, ask yourselves, be honest, come February, we are fatigued.
Yes.
We are tired, highly irritable. Lots of people lose jobs, take stress, what do you call them, breaks or whatever. They take sabbaticals. Stress leaves.
Yeah.
Why does that happen? Because we are so depleted by February, and we haven't recognized that we need extra vitamin D. So yes, on a normal times, we could say you could take it, depending on, I wouldn't make the recommendation, let your doctor make the recommendation.
Yes.
But we know that you need more vitamin D than you are already taking between the months of November to March, or even April, I would say.
So I know you said...
Feb is the worst, and it is the time when you recognize, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I'm sleeping, but I'm not sleeping well.
I am.
So most of us experience, unknowing, it's fatigue setting in from lack of sunlight. So here you go. So it's the most depressing month. You will be surprised. Like, mental health is coming on now next month. Why do we talk about it around February, March? Again, South Asians are prone to cardiac complications, a lot of them.
Yes.
And there again, vitamin D is one of your 5 factors. So February is the month of health, heart health. March is the month of mental health. By then, we are reached that exhausted zone already.
Interesting. So I know you said you cannot prescribe, but what is like an average when you look at, like, there must be a standard of what levels we should be looking at?
Most doctors here in North America recommend 1,000 mcg.
Okay.
But that's okay for everybody. In fact, even Caucasians are now being told to take it. But South Asians, you definitely need more.
So
this is my recommendation, not like
Of course.
And people that come to me come out of will.
Yes.
No one was forced to come to a wellness consultant.
Of course.
You walked into the health food store saying, I need help beyond the help I'm getting from my medical family doctor. So when you come to me, you've come on your own risk. That is when I take over and I make recommendations.
Okay.
And I would say 4,000 would be a 4,000 to 5,000. So you could take a 2,500 IU. Did I say MCG?
You said
Correction.
MCG. I was going to ask you that. Okay.
Vitamin D IUs is international
yes.
units.
Yes.
My correction, sorry.
Yes. No worries.
One of the, but I would put it as a senior moment, right? So you need 2,500 by 2. That makes 5,000 IU, international units.
Really?
Would be my suggestion. January to March end. Come April, when things are changing and spring is setting in, you can go down to 2,500. I still recommend 2,500 for South Asians, Africans, Mediterraneans, and for the other, I'll say you can go to 1,000, because a lot of times we also use sunscreens.
Yes.
Now, over and above being depleted, you're also wearing a sunscreen that's furthermore depleting the UV rays and absorption. Already, we don't absorb it well. So put together. Now, why do the Caucasians have to use sunscreen? They have to, is because they don't have the pigmentation, the melanin. So that prevents us from getting skin cancers, but doesn't do that to them. So their chance of wearing skin protection is more than us. But again, they do more. The more you expose yourself to sun, they probably have lesser need to take a higher dose as compared to us. Now, this is not a golden rule. You can go and get yourself checked before you take my word for it.
Understood. But at least now we understand what the differences are. Yeah. Because, yes, of course, sunscreen for cancer purposes. Obviously, cuts out UVA and UVB. It does that.
Absolutely. Anti-aging. You don't want wrinkles quickly.
You don't. But then there's things in sunscreens now that really, when we're talking about toxins, you know very well, Dr. Marina.
Yes.
And her and I were having this conversation, and we were talking about toxins, and these are personal care toxins. And
for sure.
Apparently, every non-mineralized form of sunscreen is like putting on poison.
For sure. And skin absorbs all the poison, and slowly, doing it on a daily basis, it becomes poison to your body. So you are doing it either way. And of course, the environment is not any help, right?
Yeah.
So there again, best is to put the right things in your system so you're able to fight back. Antioxidants.
That's interesting. Can you eat something that allows your body to... Sorry.
Oh yeah, lots of antioxidants.
So antioxidants. So berries?
Lots of berries. You know, one of my favorites is food, again, from our background. It's moringa. I cannot stop talking about moringa. I probably can go on another whole episode of it.
Really?
But it has 36 anti-inflammatory agents, 46 antioxidants, entire profile of amino acids, essential, non-essential. It also has minerals and trace minerals. It's green, so it's chlorophyll, so it's an alkalizer, and it has certain Bs in a smaller dose. So it is called a miracle tree. It is food. It is not anything else. And you know what? It's like a Pac-Man that eats up all the free radicals. So there is something called food that can do it to you.
That's amazing.
So why not food and herbs and things that we South Asians know so much about in your kitchen?
Yes.
Your health, 30 to 40% lies in your kitchen.
Can you give us examples?
Right. So you have things like cumin seeds, jeera. You have asafoetida, that's hing. You have dhania seeds, that's coriander seeds. You have parsley, okay. You have anise, that's fennel.
Star anise also.
Fennel, that's another one. And so I really advise sometimes to people that come with kidney issues or have a reason to drink more fluids. Or even carom seeds, that's ajwain.
Yes.
I tell babies to use that as respiratory distress when the kid is having any inflammation, chest congestion. I ask them to do that. I ask the moms post-delivery during their postpartum to drink the water of carom seeds. Really good for you. Kids won't have any colic if we knew that you could use the hing and put them on their tummy and they will be okay. So there are a lot of ways. And then, as I said, you can have carom, coriander, cumin, parsley, and fennel seeds. You boil that together, take 3 tablespoons of each of them, put it in water in about 1.5 liters, brew it, strain it, and drink that instead of a cup of tea. And you could add ginger and lemon to it. So you've had a healthy drink, great for toxins, releasing toxins, clearing your kidneys. And of course, in the modern world, we all drink or go out and socialize and have sometimes 1, 2, or one too many.
Couple.
Let's put it that way. You want to keep a balance in life. See, there's no extreme, and I don't believe in, I want to go keto, I want to go carnivore, there's nothing called a diet. It's a lifestyle. Mm-hmm. It's a way of life. Yes. So let's take a balance and be somewhere in between, understanding. Let's say today I messed up. What can I do tomorrow to make it better? Mm-hmm. And you can. Mm-hmm. It's easy. Like we know about the simple herb like turmeric, curcumin. Mm-hmm. The curcuminoids are in turmeric, they are the fat molecules that are beneficial for inflammation. Mm-hmm. Again, it's in your kitchen. Mm-hmm. Kanji, beetroot. We make kanji with mustard seeds and in the kitchen. Like, you really don't need to look so much outside, but there are certain supplements that we need to supplement.
Yes.
So they are supplementing, not substituting. For example, people go out and think drinking a protein shake is the best way to go. I call that the McDonald's in a health food store. Fast food. I want to skip my meal. I want a meal replacement, fast food, protein shake. No, there are times when you can incorporate. But yes, when it comes to protein, there are very many different proteins the South Asian food knows of.
Yes.
And we always believed in proteins.
Yes.
How you eat is important.
Yes.
The most important thing is when you have a plate. We're all used to pouncing on a carb before we pounce on anything else because that's how we grew up. Chapati, sabzi, right?
Yes.
But I try to tell people, okay, let's change this. Let's do some good fats, olives, fiber, like a chunk of hummus with some vegetables.
Love that.
You start with fiber, fill up, go slow into good fat, so some olives or some cheese or what, if you could take your lactose. Besides, that's another thing. Mm-hmm. And then eventually you can hit your protein, pick the meats, like a whole charcuterie board, has it all displayed in the perfect balance. Mm-hmm. And then eventually you can touch your carbs.
In the end.
You will eat carb less, you fuel your body with the right foods, and you've gone in the right proportion, slowly and steadily.
So you're saying fiber first, or veggies or fruits first. That should be the number one thing. Mm-hmm. And then healthy fats. So we've got ghee, we've got olive oil, we've got any of the cold pressed oils that we can use. Yeah. But not like high heat fried kind of stuff. Yeah. Just like their regular, in their pure form.
Then protein.
And then get the protein in.
Or you could even play around with the protein and fat together.
Protein and fat together, because actually protein and fat do go together. It's better absorption.
I also say fruit and fat. Sometimes you've eaten your fruit and vegetables and you need your fat to slow the sugar release into your system, right? The insulin. And then eventually eat your carbs. And then you still get your carbs. I'm a breadaholic myself.
I love bread.
Love my bread. So to tell somebody stop eating bread, no, it's not fair.
It doesn't make sense.
Tell them, how can you eat your bread in a better way?
Okay. So when you're doing nutritional advice for your clients, you are basically, this is the advice that you're giving them.
First, I listen to you.
Yes.
Then I check your way of living, lifestyle, the patterns that you follow, and then I try to tailor make it.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
Because you cannot give a platform to people and say like a blank sheet to them and give everybody the same advice.
Yes.
You got to tailor make, because if you're somebody who socializes 4 times a week, what are the choices of foods you can make as compared to somebody who eats more at home or doesn't party so much? It is true. You cannot, I ran just another addition to what I did back home, which is what I like a lot to do with the Bollywood too, was I had a weight loss clinic.
Oh,
Sorry, I can't talk about weight loss. But thanks to North America, of course, the hormonal changes that came by when I came here and embraced it. During that period, it was always tailor-made. So we had to have the right nutrition, but it couldn't be a same thing to everybody. It had to be, so you would come to me once a week, we used to weigh you, then listen to what you did in the week, then tailor-make a diet for you. And that's where a lot of the Bollywood people would come to us. And
okay, so there are some homeopathic medicines that do help metabolism?
In reality, drop the fork. It is checking it's like you drop the fork. You cannot find help from outside if you don't help yourself first. Then you can take some things to boost the metabolism.
Really?
Some people have a very, very poor metabolism.
Yes.
And again, it's input and output.
Yes.
You got to eat and then work out. And you have to complement the two things. You cannot just think by not eating you're going to lose weight, or by overworking out you're going to lose weight.
Because neither does that.
You need fuel for your muscle.
Yeah.
And you need and then you cannot go on a high X kind of a diet. I wouldn't name a diet, certain diets, because again, that's just going to die. Your diet is going to eventually die. It's not going to be a lifestyle.
Because they're not sustainable.
They're not sustainable. And they're not long-term. They're just short-term, like catalysts that can be used to trigger something.
But they're a good tool for that.
It's a great tool.
So you could start something.
Do a quick thing, take a short break, try to shock the body, because the body is really intelligent.
It is very intelligent.
You do the shocking and then go back to adapting to what you can do in the longer, for the longest time, for a longer time. You can't choose a shortcut.
Yeah.
It's not going to stay too long. You're going to bounce back. And every time you play with that, you're playing with one endocrine system that you don't want to play too much with, and that's your thyroid.
Okay. I am loving that you came up to thyroid. I want to talk about the thyroid glands and the thyroid functioning. In my previous conversation, we talked about the T3,
T4, and TSH.
TSH, yes. And we talked about the importance of T3, which is
to help to convert the T4 into TSH.
Which is not really looked at.
Correct. You're absolutely right. And not necessary that you're a thyroid patient.
No.
You are just a sluggish thyroid. North America, chronic fatigue syndrome. That's just how they put it. Or I have fibromyalgia. These terminologies were used to somebody who, when I would say, did you check your thyroid? What did the doctor say? And then they would tell me they said, I'm okay, I don't have a... Okay, you could be somebody who has a sluggish functioning thyroid. Because when you see the symptoms of how a hypothyroid person would look like, you see the lateral 1/3 of the eyebrow missing, like, scanty hair fall, brittle nails, just feeling exhausted, being tired, sweating, feeling cold, there are a lot of symptoms that drive you to think, hey, maybe you need to address your thyroid. But you're not a hypothyroid or a hyperthyroid patient. So that's what homeopathy teaches you. Don't give labels and titles.
Interesting.
Find the symptoms. We address a symptom, not a disease. Because these symptoms took me into disharmony and a dis-ease. What are my symptoms?
So like
you could have the same disease.
The root of the symptoms?
Like everybody has their own. So that's why homeopathy is not this huge. It is a very one-on-one, personal individualization, identifying what is Radha's symptoms, and I'm going to help Radha address those symptoms, not the disease. Eventually, the disease would be addressed.
So conventional medicine also works on symptoms, right? So
conventional medicine works on disease. They don't work on the whole picture. So again, symptoms are physical and emotional.
Yes.
Tell me, a lot of times people go to their doctor and say, I feel this.
Yeah.
And the doctor makes an assessment on I'm not talking against the
No, of course not.
I'm saying that's how they have to work.
Yeah.
They will put you through a few blood tests and they'll say, well, nothing wrong in your blood tests.
Yeah.
right? But you say, no, but I feel it.
Yeah.
Now, where's that element of feeling coming from? So a homeopath would say, oh, we'd look into what the mental symptoms of this, like mind, and then come to the body. Because the person is saying, I feel this. So address the feeling.
So when I was a little girl, my dad, by the way, he's a huge homeopathy nerd, I'm going to call him. Okay?
Oh, that's great.
I feel that his calling was actually to be a homeopathic doctor. I don't know. I think he just stopped short of that. But he believes in the science of homeopathy, or the thought, or the principles on
It is
on
like
which it
cures,
works.
like vaccines.
Right?
Where are we today? Vaccination, right? Homeopathy is like a vaccination. Similar, similibus curanta, means like cures like. Now, the one that I'm trying to help you cure with is to fight the disease you have. So you give a stronger one to fight the weaker one. There is a fight, and then eventually you're at ease. What is vaccination? You give the same thing,
Yeah.
inject it to the body, and the body, because this is stronger than what the body heals.
The adenovirus.
Exactly what homeopathy. But because we didn't have adequate science at that time or support towards that system here in North America, it's not as well embraced as back in India, where I come from. It's a foundation there. We study, as I said, we study same level, we do the entire course for the same period of time. Somebody who passed out from armed forces and I passed out from the homeopathic college, same level, 1 year of internship I do. But in North America, they don't believe it because they think it's placebo. So half the time when a patient comes to you, you need to first take the patient in he's not your patient, he's just somebody in trouble.
Yes.
So when you bring them in, you have to ease them out by saying, hey, we can work together.
Yeah.
And that's where I use my principle of dawa, dua, and atma vishwas.
Ooh.
I said dawa is the medicine that I'm going to help you with. Dua is you and me going back and saying, I hope and wish and pray to be fit soon.
Healthier, yeah.
And atma vishwas is what you came with. So 50% of my treatment
Atma-vishwas,
is
confidence.
in the trust. You came to me with some trust.
Mm-hmm.
And if I could tap that, then I've made you comfortable to say, ease out. I'll take care of the physical part. So that's where the whole answer is. It's always where the mind, a lot of diseases and disharmony comes from where the mind inflicts it.
Absolutely. And because you said that, I was giving you the anecdote of my dad's. We used to go to the homeopathic doctors. I grew up in a city called Bareilly.
I know Bareilly.
You know Bareilly, yes. There's lots of nice songs of the city. But anyway,
Yes.
I grew up in that city and lived there for half of my life, pretty much, half of my young life. And my dad used to go to these homeopathy doctors, and they used to sit down and be asked, okay, do you like the moon better or the sun better?
Yeah.
I can't forget these questions, okay? And I would look at the doctor and be like, what? Like, I don't know, I like the moon better. Does that make a difference?
It does, because it's personal to Radha.
So that's and you know, the other thing I noticed as I grew up and I looked at the differences between all these different
Sciences.
ideas of how science wants to, you know, express itself through these different genres. Ayurveda talks about your personalities.
Yes, it does. And so does homeopathy.
Differences. Yeah. So because I connected that because homeopathy, that doctor, he was a good doctor. Whatever my dad needed his medicine for, it worked for him. He would ask these questions, be like, you like the moon better or the sun better? Do you like silver more or do you like gold more? What do you think? What comes to your mind when you think of this? Or like these kind of questions. And then in Ayurveda, they talk about you have different body types.
Yeah. So we talk of
warmer or colder, right? Or you can take
Vata, Pitta, Kapha, because there's different. So again, in homeopathy, why we go into details? Because it was not today. Sometimes it's going back. You know, a lot of times when kids come to us, we go through what was the mother going through at the time of pregnancy, because it started as early as that.
Do you know that that's the study of depression that they're doing these days?
It is true. And you know what, just this afternoon I was at work and I was telling, I call her Mama to be, one of the clients that came in and she's pregnant. And I was saying, you go home and hear this music. And she said, oh, why do you say that? I said, because this music studies show is soothing for the baby. And if the baby is in a happy frame, you'll be more comfortable at ease, because the last trimester is a little bit more uncomfortable for the mama. So try to make it as easy as you can. There's science that is showing you now that, sound therapy and music and humming. So all to say, why do we ask these questions? Because first we take a holistic picture.
Yes.
Then we evaluate it.
Yes.
And then we make a PQRS, peculiar queer symptoms, that is only specific to Radha. And then we come to a remedy. So the remedy wasn't picked with aspirin for this, Tylenol for this.
No.
It was very specific to why. We didn't do a band-aid, but we went to find out why. So the more you ask why, the better you get to healing. Because you have to ask deeper questions to get to the deeper root, to get to the root. It's like an onion. You have to peel the onion to get to, you can't just eat the onion with the outside. So to get to the core of something, you need to dig deeper. And the modern medicine has an easy answer. We complicate it in homeopathy, or if you want to put it that way. We try to go into why to such a deeper level, and then able to connect. And today, don't we say, the gut and the brain is the new way to go. So it's the new. So why is the gut and the brain, and I remember this phrase, I have a gut-like feeling. But my feeling is in my heart, not in my gut. But why does it say? So, if you're anxious, you used to have a rumble in your stomach and run.
Or butterflies.
That has a connection, because the nervous system, or it's all connected. Then why am I isolating or separating the organ from the disease when I'm not going into a deeper level? What is it?
That's interesting.
What is it?
So you said mama's state of mind. The newest study these days is that if the mother was in an unhappy state during childbirth or during childbearing years, when the baby was still inside
the womb of the mom,
the depressive state of the baby becomes
manifests
more prevalent. Although depression does not have a gene. So depression is not a gene.
It's acquired.
Exactly. But you know how you say, you hear people say, oh, my dad was always depressed, or my mom was, I'm genetically depressed, where that's not actually a real statement.
And to a certain extent, environment and the life that you grew up has a lot of influence on how you modify and in adulthood and process those things. Because we grow up with impressions.
That's right.
And these impressions are from the womb to reality.
That's right.
And those impressions then make us the personality.
That's interesting, isn't it? And you did say gut brain, which is also the newest thing on right now. It's like it's a fire right now. Everybody, the gut brain access, right? There is a direct access between the gut and the brain. Is what you eat, how that gets processed, what signal does it send to the brain, and then what signal does the brain send to you to feel like I'm depressed, I'm happy, I'm sad. They used to say, go work out or give a hug to somebody, you have happy hormones and stuff like that. Like that all is in the gut. All of our hormones.
And your vitamin D is important for that hormone assessment too, right?
But they all get created in the gut.
Exactly.
And that's the reason why nutrition and all kinds of additional supplementation is important.
Yeah, but go back to old school. Didn't we all eat healthy at that time, or make healthier choices?
Yeah, I think so.
Because we didn't have a lot of media to distract us.
And we also didn't have a lot
And we had a better lifestyle at that time. We knew running around and doing outside or being physically active was equally important. Money could buy a lot of comforts, and over time we just made our minds and body lazy.
Nandita, green spaces, gardening, walking outside on grass
is lost completely right now.
But those are such
therapeutic.
So important for us. And even some of the it's a full disclosure. When I was a kid, I used to eat cement.
Yes, and that's
I used to eat mud.
And that's a personality I can pick right away. And such are the people that would have skin manifestations one way or the other.
Interesting.
It is a fact. And And
I have them now.
There you go. And respiratory complexities.
My kids have those.
Yes, because there is a connect. Like, again, we can go on and on, right? We have to have many more sessions like this,
conversation.
But we all have to be time bound on certain things.
Yeah.
We could redo that.
I love that you're calling this instead of me calling it. You're calling it.
No, I'm just saying that okay. I know there's so much more I'd like to share.
I'd love to hear it all.
But I do want to make a mention about one very important mineral, because we spoke about vitamin D in context when you said green and you brought me to the subject.
Yes.
Magnesium. The most depleted, one of the other most depleted mineral.
After vitamin D.
After vitamin D in North America. We have to address that, because magnesium, where does magnesium come from? In food, it comes from your greens and some nuts. But you know what? Again, you don't grow your greens for 6 months of the year.
Yeah.
So, and what does magnesium do? I think it does a lot of functions in the body, and different kinds of magnesium have different roles to do and play. There is topical and ingestible. So I think in order for us to talk about women health, which could be another topic, we could speak about different stages of life that need to be addressed differently.
Which we will talk about.
Eventually, the magnesium is the mineral that helps you assimilate, and you, with the help of vitamin D and calcium, to assimilate the calcium that you ingest in your diet, dietary calcium, or calcium that people take, instead of accumulate it in different wrong places of your body. For example,
so when
in
you
the
say
heart,
calcification,
it is coming from lack of magnesium, lack of vitamin D, that's preventing the assimilation and is accumulating.
And when you say assimilation,
means to be utilized,
in the blood.
Be in the body. And magnesium helps in relaxation. There is no area that it doesn't address. For example, the heart is all muscle, no bone. Mm-hmm. So what does muscle relaxation do? Prevent your blood pressure from rising. Gut is all muscle, no bone. So what does it do for the gut? It relaxes the gut, so you have greater bowel movements or better bowel movements, or relaxes the muscles. When your gut is relaxed, you sleep better. People complain of restless legs, men generally more than women, but also cramps, a lot of cramps. Relaxation. Once you take your magnesium, you're relaxed and you don't get your cramps, the cramps. Or people who work out a lot, they say, I drink my water, I eat healthy, I still have cramps in the night. And then I say, yeah, you're lacking a mineral. And that one mineral is functional at many physiological functions of your body.
I also know
how little do doctors talk about.
Nobody.
I'm again talking from a totally outside world.
Yes.
That I'm talking of supplementing with certain necessary minerals and vitamins, not contradicting but complementing or integrating.
So 2 questions.
I keep correcting that, sir.
Which is fine. 2 questions. Our body does not make magnesium.
No.
Therefore, it has to be brought in from outside.
From the right source and the right kind. So there are various kinds, and we can go on another subject on that, but you have magnesium oxide, magnesium sulfate, magnesium chloride, you have magnesium glycinate, you have magnesium stearate, you have magnesium butyrate, like a lot of magnesiums. Now, why magnesium? What kind of, and taurate? Why? When do you use what? There's a lot to that. So we'll not get into a lot of detailing.
Understood.
But we just want to say that one of the best magnesiums is the magnesium glycinate. It is bonded to an amino acid, hence it is more gentle, more gut tolerant, and more bioavailable.
When you say that it's bonded to amino acid, it means it's chelated?
It's there is a little difference between chelation and glycine and amino acids.
Okay.
It's more gentle when it's an amino, because we have essential amino acids and non-essential amino. And glycine is one of them. It's an amino acid, so it's bonded to it. There is a technique of chelation, and there is a...
So amino acid comes from proteins.
We are all amino acid, just protein.
Right.
And protein is your next subject in nutrition.
Okay.
As you keep growing, just keep encouraging more protein, more protein, more protein. It doesn't mean a protein diet. Please don't get me wrong.
No.
It just means better choices of eating adequate protein.
Yes.
based on your body type, of course, your activity, your body type. But remember one thing, if you want a healthier looking 40s and 50s, your investment starts earlier in the 20s and 30s.
Well, I'm past the 20s and 30s, so
but even
I'm
now,
way
it's
beyond
never
that.
late. Oh yeah, it's never late, Radha. I can tell you this, it's never late to take care of yourself.
Absolutely.
The day you decided is the right day, and from moving forward, onwards from that day, it's
the right choices.
You've made the right choices to take your health in your control instead of letting the disease control you.
We talked about vitamin D, which was the number one supplementation required for especially South Asian, African descent, and some European, Mediterranean descent. Everybody that gets the best sun needs a little bit more vitamin D.
Absolutely, because they come from a tropical world.
Yeah, and then number two is magnesium, and you really love the glycinate version of it. And I personally take the magnesium glycinate. And
it's glycinate or biglycinate. It's the same thing.
Yes.
It's the same thing. Yeah. But it just means two molecules of glycine are bonded to the magnesium.
Yes.
So in case one just dislodges, the other one still holds on.
Yeah.
It's just more gut tolerant because the citrate, which is most commonly combined with calcium, it tends to give you more of a gut assistance. So people think if I take it, I get better bowels. Yes, but you're not addressing the whole picture. You're addressing a bit of the picture.
Is there a level for how much magnesium should be?
No, your body is your best friend to tell you the answer, because there's something called bowel tolerance test. You can start the magnesium glycinate and keep increasing it by 1 every day till the day your bowels are like a pudding and you went more than once. It's called the BTT, the bowel tolerance test.
Interesting.
And you get to that point. So when you get, I'm just giving an example, let's say you at level 5, 5 capsules of 165 milligrams, and you've got to 5 and you had like two bowel movements and you had like a consistency not well formed, that means you're 1 too many and you need to come to 4 as maintenance. It's not necessarily standard. You can always play with it, because sometimes you may eat more magnesium rich food, like the nuts and seeds and more greens, and your dietary requirements may not be as much. There are certain health conditions like those who have celiac or Crohn's and already have bowel issues. Such times knowing a bit of the history is very important. It's not an over-the-counter thing. According to me, it's always nice to go to some professional who has some knowledge or is an advisor that would guide you to why you be a candidate that doesn't take too much of magnesium. But again, magnesium is not, your body will just throw it out right away. It's like having milk of magnesia. You know, milk of magnesia was for opening the bowels, that was oxide. So when it gets a little too much, your body's going to say, I don't need it.
So that's easy.
Boom,
so unlike calcium.
Not unlike calcium, you're right. Unlike calcium, that can go and store somewhere. Unlike iron, that can go and store in the wrong places.
And iron.
And then you have to, that's why always good to ask a professional before you just go and read internet or expose yourself to picking knowledge. Because again, I say internet is for everybody, but not everything there is for me.
Yes.
And I am different. I'm not in the whole platform. I'm this one spec that has different requirements. And hence, if I went into a health food store or to some naturopath or a professional from whichever space, they are going to be able to guide you.
Yes.
You can pick what you want to and leave the rest. Okay, I just tell you, don't believe everything the white coat tells you. There's something that's very personal to you, and only you know.
So your body is
your best friend, and you are your best friend and your worst enemy.
Yes.
So it's because either you bring thoughts that are not good, or your body is So
we have magnesium, vitamin D,
and there's something called L-theanine, which I'd like to speak. That's what I was
going to ask. What others do you?
I would recommend. So there is a local pharmacist from Ottawa.
Okay.
And he has this interesting product called Alcopure.
Are these what this is?
Yeah, I just brought it is because I closely worked with him.
Okay.
And I know of this pharmacist who's really amazing in his creations. All over Ottawa, in fact, all over Canada, Trans-Canada, you'll find these products now.
Okay.
So Alcopure was one of his first one of the many. So the first two was magnesium and alkapure.
Okay.
And why I talk about alkapure equally is to say that it is, in today's world, the North American diet is highly acidic instead of alkaline, and it's all about the balance, the pH of the body. And if the acidic food is a bit too much, the body is thrown off balance.
Yeah.
And then we'll end up with this condition, itis.
Yes.
So everywhere it goes and sets in, there's candida, there's urinary tract infections, there's inflammation with arthritis, osteoarthritis, everything that makes you uncomfortable.
So itis, inflammation.
Inflammation. What is it doing? It's thrown your body off its balance. So the pH of the body is out of whack.
Yes.
We're just going to reformat that.
So what is the normal pH?
There is no pH that lasts you from morning to night at the same level.
Interesting.
We need to do it. That's why they ask you to do it 3 times a day. But you don't want to be too acidic and you don't want to be too alkalized.
So
both
midpoint.
of them are dangerous. My opinion, this is my personal, I'm not making a standard claim. 5.8 to 6.3 or 4, I think it's a fairly decent pH.
Okay.
I'm in the middle somewhere. I'm in a better stage because yes, disease only grows in an environment that it's too acidic or too alkaline.
Yeah.
There are certain autoimmune conditions where you cannot give them antioxidants or try to overmodulate their system.
Okay.
So there are certain medical conditions in which we don't do it.
Okay.
Hence, we have to be somewhere in between, and that's what alkapure does. It's dibasic phosphates and bicarbonates. It neutralizes the pH of the body and allows your body to heal.
Sorry,
over time.
dibasic
Phosphates.
What is that?
It's a chemical balancer. It's a phosphate format. It's the mineral that helps the body to neutralize the pH of the body. Stomach needs acid.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
By taking an antacid, you're trying to deplete the stomach as acid. That means it's not going to break down the food easily.
Okay.
And what's going to do, it's going to strip the calcium off the bones.
Oh.
So I know it's a very annoying condition where every food seems to give you a reflux or change your food. Eat the right foods.
Sometimes
maybe
people
you're sensitive to certain foods, and you're thinking and you're continuously taking the sensitive foods to become intolerant. You're not always intolerant. I put it the other way. Most times you're intolerant to certain foods and eventually you become sensitive to it. Did you know that? You could be eating a pizza, you could be eating gluten and not realizing
eventually
you'll become, your body can't take that little poison, and now it becomes a bigger issue, and now you're gluten intolerant completely. You did have the symptoms when you were intolerant too, but the intensity of the symptoms weren't this much to kind of alarm the body, or they were giving triggers of inflammation, but they weren't alarming enough for you to stop eating them. Going off everything at the same time, or going off the most common food choices that are triggering inflammation in the body is a different subject. But what happens here is that the way they process, they add things to cleanse the chemicals and create more issues into it. So you want to realize and recognize.
So that's toxicity.
That's how they add things to it to process it. So all these processing of foods is where the problem lies.
So just make sure.
That's why go back to old school, how we used to eat. Keep the fiber in. Don't polish it so much. That's where the problem lies, right? The more you process, the more the problem. And so that's another thing
You have magnesium butyrate here too.
Yes.
Now I know butyrate, the butyric acid is also in ghee.
It is.
It is one of the good fat.
In coconut, medium chain, any medium chain triglyceride, butyric acid.
Medium chain triglyceride.
No, medium chain triglyceride.
Yes.
MCT.
Yes.
We talk about coconut oil being MCT, right?
Yes.
Same. So what does it do? It works as a prebiotic. It actually helps nourish the fiber that you have eaten in your foods to work as helping the probiotic, good bacteria.
So
in
it's
your
a
gut.
precursor to
It's a
the good bacteria.
Yeah, it
That's
helps
what
to
that is.
nourish.
So people should have a spoon of ghee every now and then.
And I'm totally with ghee.
Right.
I think it's the best way to eat. It has no lactose, so
No lactose.
and it's clarified butter is one of the best.
Plus you can
and
make
you
it
don't
at
need
home.
too much of it.
Yeah.
Any given time, you don't need a volume of the oils that we use.
Yeah.
If it's ghee, you use lesser,
Yes.
and it's better. You could use coconut oil. You could use mustard oil. Go back to the old school where mustard oil was high heating
Yes.
point, and it's good for you. So medium of cooking is equally important. Don't believe in olive oil, because olive oil is best eaten when not heated
When not
as
cooked.
much. It has to be cold pressed, so it has to be eaten as a dressing or drizzled over food, not cooked in, even though it says for cooking.
Yeah, interesting.
Make better choices.
Very interesting.
Make better choices.
These are great supplements, and I think there is a lot here. We've got an L-glutamine, we've got a UTI Pure, we've got a couple others. The one that I want to talk about is collagen, number one. And one that's never really spoken about when it comes to women's health, and that's creatine. And I just like to have an insight from you about these.
It fuels your muscles. It fuels your mind.
Creatine
It fuels
does.
your and creatine, it fuels your body, your mind, your muscles. Women can take creatine as much as men, because when you have more muscle mass, you burn fat. So people only relate to creatine for workout or from that perspective. But no, it's also great for the mind or mental health of the patient.
Really?
Oh yeah, the brain function, it reduces the fatigue. Post-workout, you're really tired, the muscle fatigue that you have. It actually nourishes the brain too, the brain fatigue that you have.
Really?
Creatine helps in that too.
That's wonderful.
Yep.
We've never told to be taking creatine though, are we, for women?
See, making choices of supplementing is again very personal. Lifestyle is important. You can't just make recommendations to people if they don't have those activities.
Yes.
There are other things you can tell them before you talk about supplementing.
Yes.
So that is where my nutritional
Which I love.
impressions would be of more beneficiary support than only supplementing.
Yes.
I'm only speaking of certain supplements. It doesn't mean a certain brand.
No.
They're not married to a certain
No.
equation.
Yeah.
It means in totality, these are elements that would help you for a better longevity and quality of life tomorrow.
And that's what we're after.
Build it today for a better tomorrow.
What about collagen?
There are various ways of saying we are all protein. Collagen is protein. And I'm of the strong belief that more protein is better for you. Normally, we've also come to researchers say it's 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per kilogram of body type. Yeah. So for, let's say, if I weigh 150, a woman lesser than a man would need almost 125 to 30 grams of protein per day.
A lot of protein.
That's a lot of protein in 3 divided doses. Now, we don't eat that
3 meals? We don't eat 3 meals.
Exactly. Though. So there again, don't go by the general rule, but add more protein into your diet, balanced with fiber and the greens. So let's say you were working with a clock.
Yeah.
I would say 12 to 3 portions should be your protein.
Okay. Oh.
3 to 9 should be your vegetables and greens, and 9 to 12 portions should be your carbs, complex carbs.
So quarters.
So that way, if you consciously make those choices, you're making better choices for your nutritional requirement and body. That is where I say
mindfulness.
It's all about the way you make choices, right? Food is your best friend. I didn't touch the topic of a liver. That's one organ I love to speak about, and we know more about it. We also know bitters are better, like I put it. So activating the liver to work as the one organ that helps to break down the protein, carbs, and fats of the body is a very good way to fuel. It's the engine of the body, so you fuel the engine right, and then the body works right.
I love that you brought that up, because I had
Liver is a very, very important, especially because we are touching the target we are reaching out to is women, and all their lives the liver is collecting all the hormone dumping, all the bad dumping, and so that's one element that we need to address, because we don't have two livers, but we have an intelligent liver. If we give it the right fuel, it works the right way.
Is there one thing that you believe is absolutely amazing for the liver?
Bitters. And what's best in your kitchen that's bitter? Methi. So fenugreek seeds can be used. Soak it, take about, I would say, most people want to start slow. So take a quarter teaspoon of soaked fenugreek seeds. So soak them overnight, next day morning, chew on them. They're bitter is better, and then drink the water. But you wash it, and when you soak it before you wash it, you pre-soak.
Very interesting.
You know what? We use it as an antioxidant. It is rich in so many things. And you know what? It's in your kitchen. So instead of going and looking out, and I can just correlate this to Germans. They eat a lot of fatty food and heavy food, and they have something called bitters as a drink after. Why do they do that? Because they help the liver to be happier at night, because you've had a heavy, fatty carb potato meal, and you want, and then, so there again, just a simple answer.
Very interesting.
Just bitters are better. So more the bitters, the better for you.
I would like to thank you for taking the time,
so much.
making
God
the
bless.
opportunity. We will see you again. We will see you again.
Thank you.
And we will hopefully have more. As you can tell, Nandita is passionate about these things, and we can go from one topic to another without any understanding of where we began. We will have multiple such conversations, and I look forward to our viewers and our listeners tuning in another time. Have a good night.
Good night.